Hey guys, so I want to share a little something with y'all. Let me know if you get anything too, okay? So I finished writing my entries for the testimony book today, and this drew my attention, okay? I don't know if you guys saw on the news, but today Trump is calling it Liberation Day because he enacted, I think it's called what's it called? The House Rule Act over Washington D.C., where it's allowing him to take federal power over like the police and stuff, and he can also enforce military if needed to bring order, right? And so he's calling this Liberation Day. Now, remember how I told you guys that sometimes my entries that I'm typing that I wrote out for myself to type that day aligns with what's going on? So I'm going to share with you guys what I wrote in my entry from May 27th, 2023. Okay. So in the entry, I'm reading Hebrews chapter 11, which is the faith chapter. And one of the names that stuck out to me was Jephthah. And it means God opens in Hebrew. And so I wanted to know more about his role in the Bible. And one of the places that his name is mentioned is in 1 Samuel chapter 12. And it doesn't really talk about him specifically, but in that chapter, it's Samuel giving a speech to the Israelites right before they receive what they requested was they wanted a king, right? And he highlights to them how when they receive their request, they can't forget, nor the king forget God and his commandments, right? And so I had written at the end of this a question, and I asked the Lord, is a change in government coming to produce the request we have asked for? Because that's what happened in that chapter. They changed the government, the form of government, and it brought about what they were asking for. And then when I asked this and I listened for the Lord, he said Exodus 11. So Exodus chapter 11 speaks of the final plague. It's the chapter where the Lord gives the instructions to the Israelites about what's coming with the final plague and what they're supposed to do, right? During this time, he highlights in chapter 11 that they're supposed to ask for the silver and gold from the Egyptians and that his favor will be upon them so that they can get it. And then he also highlights that during this time, he will make that clear distinction as to who his children are because they will be safe from this final plague. And so there's a revelation that I received after reading this and praying, and it's that we're about to witness a final plague of our own before our exodus. But in it, we will receive the wealth transfer, and God's children will not be harmed. This will be the last plague we witness before we experience our deliverance. And it brought me back to that word that the Lord had given me March 29, which speaks of a coming calamity, the likes of which we've never seen. And so I had written here, hold this until God tells you to share it. And I feel like I need to share this with you guys today because I believe today is the beginning of that with what we're seeing happening in Washington D.C. right now. And this is why I'm sharing this with you guys. Remember, in the short I just shared with you, it's Isaiah 60, but in the entry from May 28th of 2023, it was Isaiah 60 verse 1 and 2 that the Lord had highlighted to me, or that I was referenced after I looked up what the Lord spoke to me that day. And so I want to read you guys Isaiah 60 verse 1 and 2 for a reason, okay? It says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you." Verse 2, "For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and thick darkness the peoples, but the Lord will arise upon you." So we've spoken about this in the past. And I have a video on it, and I'll share with you guys where I highlighted to you guys that it's during that there's going to be darkness, a time of darkness during when we're delivered, just like what happened in Exodus chapter 11. It was during the final plague that the Israelites were delivered. And so I believe what's occurring today is the beginning of that darkness that will bring about the shine, the light, that where we see God step in and deliver us, okay? And so please take this back to the Lord in prayer. If he gives you anything else, let me know. But I don't think it's any coincidence that he's calling these steps he's taking, Liberation Day, okay? And how, things can get very dark when military starts taking over, but that God's also highlighting Isaiah 61 today about him coming to shine his light. And remember, in that short that I just shared with you guys, the confirmation of with the light, first it got very dark, and then the light illuminated quickly. And so God is speaking, and he's telling us, I'm here to shine your light, but know that it is through the darkness that you will be delivered. And so just be prayed up, guys. Be prayed up. Ask the Lord for guidance during this period of time. I think we're entering into our final plague that leads to deliverance. So I love y'all. God bless.